Hello, you're welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create charts using Python and Matplotlib. Watch this video to the end to see how I do it. So to get started, first thing we have to make sure that we have Python installed on our system. Then we need to also install the Pyplot library, which you can install by typing this command. Open up your terminal, type cmd to open up your terminal or command prompt. Then within your command prompt, so pip install matplotlib. So when you run this command, this will install the matplot library that will enable us to begin to work with charts, creating charts like bar charts, pie charts, etc. After installing it, what you need to do next is to import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. Then I also want to import another package that will enable me to generate random numbers and also create data frames. So for this, I'm going to need two packages. I'm going to import numpy as np. Then finally, I'm going to import pandas as pd. So the numpy package enables me to create array, random number, generating random numbers, and then the pandas package enables me to create data frames, etc. So in order to, the first thing we want to create now is let's say a pie chart. To create a pie chart, first of all, let's say you want to create a pie chart for sales of certain items. So to do that, let's say sales is equal to, I'm going to create a data frame. So I'm going to use the pandas pd dot data frame. Then I'm going to pass an object here. The first key here is the products. Let's say the products. Let's say shoe, bag, belts, and then t-shirts. So I created an array, an object here with an array key of products, and within this here we have an array of all the products. So I'll put a comma here and said the sales, that's the sales in counts. I want to put an array here that say, let's say shoe was sold 200 shoes were sold, bag 180, let's say belt 160, and t-shirts 230. Okay, so that's what it takes to create the data frame. The next thing I want to do with this data frame is that I want to create a pie chart with the data frame. So to do that, I'm going to use this matplot library, that's this plt, that's the pyplot. I'm going to say pyplot.py. Then I'm going to pass in the first item here is the numbers here, that's the sales. So I'm going to say, remember we created the data frame called sales, so I will say sales, and then the array key for the number of items sold is this. So I'm going to say sales in counts, which is same thing I have here, is also what I have here. Then the second thing I want here is I want to add the label. Let's say labels, which is equal to the sales data frame, and then what should I use to label it? I want to use the products to label it, so I'm going to type here products. Then we use capital letter here. So I've created create a pie chart. So I've created the pie chart. The next thing I want to do now is I want to display it. So I'll say, put a comment here that says display pie chart. So I'll say pyplot.show. So by running this command, this will display the pie plots on the screen. So let me close this thing. Then what I want to do now is that I want to run this, display the pie chart we just created. So I'll click here, run Python file. So this has executed the Python code. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to add some title to this chart. So to do that, I will say here, I'll say right after I created the pie chart, I want to say pie plots dot title. So for the title, I will say sales reports. So when you save that, and then let's close this one and then run it again, you'll see that the title is displayed here, sales report. Another thing I may want to do now is I may want to make one of these items to stand out. So what I will do here, I will put a comma here and say explode, and explode simply sets a margin on each of the items in the pie chart, each of the sectors in the pie chart. Let's say let it be 0.2, then the rest can be 0. So the first item is 0.2, and then the rest can be 0. So let's run this again and see. So after running, you can see that the shoe is standing out. You can say here starting angle, let's say 90. So when you run this again, you'll see that it is displayed this way. Cool. First of all, before we create another chart, let's say you want to export this one. So to do that, you say pyplot.save figure. Pyplot.save figure, and then you pass the name of the figure. Let's say I want to save it as sales pie chart .png. So the .png is the file extension. You can save it as a PNG file, as a JPEG file, even PDF, SVG, etc. So I just want to save it as a PNG file. After this, you press Ctrl S and then you run it again. This is going to generate this pie chart as an image, which you can use to insert in your documents. So this is how to generate a pie chart using Python. I hope it was fairly easy. You want to generate a histogram. So to do that, let me create another file here called histogram.py. How to create a histogram. A histogram is a kind of chart that is used to show frequency distribution. Let's say you have a frequency distribution of students by their height. So to do that, we import Matplotlib pyplot as plt. Then we also import. So I want to randomly generate student height. So for that, I'll need numpy. Import numpy as np. Then let me generate the random number of student height. So I will say student height equal to np dot random dot normal. I want to generate a random number that is normally distributed, and then I'll say 200, and then the scale is 10, and then it will have a value of maximum of 350. So let's print the generated value. So let's print student height. Run this. You can see that it has generated a random number of student height. So with this randomly generated number representing student height, what I want to do with it now is that I want to, rather than print, I want to generate a histogram with it. So I will say plt, which is the pyplot, dot hist, which stands for histogram. Then the value for that, we're going to pass the randomly generated array of student heights. So say plt dot show, and then you run it again. Good. So this has displayed a histogram. Now let me explain what this histogram means. It means that students who have a height of roughly between 170 to 175, they have like about 2 students have that height. Then between 175 to 180, between, let's say, 175 to 180 we have, let's say, 4 students. And then between 182 to 188 we have about 30 students. So the histogram is showing us the frequency distribution for a group of students based on their heights. Now what I may want to do now is I want to save the histogram as an image. So I will say pyplot.save figure. Then you pass in give a name to your chart. Let's say histogram or student height histogram. You can call it anything. This time around, we're going to save it as a PDF file. Saving this as a PDF file, you're going to pick Ctrl S and then run this code again. You can see that the student pie chart has been displayed. So this is the PDF file of it. We cannot run it directly through VS Code. So let me open it up here in my file manager. And then double click. You see that the student's histogram has been saved as a PDF file. Cool. Now I may want to add title to it. So I can say here, I can say pyplot.title. I can say student height, or let me say distribution of student height. Run this code again. You can see that the title now is displayed here. Cool. Finally, let's see how to create a bar chart. We can create a bar chart like this. So let me create another Python file here called bar.py, barcharts.py. And then to do that, we say, let me add a comment here how to create a bar chart. So I'm going to import matplotlib dot pyplots as plt, then import this time around import pandas as pd. After importing the pandas package, I want to create a data frame that is going to contain, let's say, the items that were being sold. Okay, so let's say sales equal to, or sales 1 equal to pandas dot data frame. I'll pass an object here. I will say products, then I pass an array of, let's say, fruits array. Say here banana, orange, apple, and let's say grape. Then pass an array of the quantity sold, quantity sold in count, quantity sold. Then I'll say here 300, 340, 290, and let's say 185. Then I'll also create, after creating the data frame, we'll now create the bar chart. So I'll say matplot, that's pyplot.bar. Then the first item is what I want to, the x-axis, which should be the categories or the item, the fruits. So I'll say sales 1, then pass in the array key, which is fruits, and then for the y-axis we can say sales 1, then the quantity sold. Then after that, we want to show the bar chart. So let's say pyplot.show. Run this. Now we have created our bar chart. We can also add labels here, label here, and also the title. So to do that, let's say here pyplot.label or the title. The title, let's say fruits sold, and then the X label, which is the categories, say the fruits, and then the Y label, which is the quantity sold. Run this again. So you can see I made a typo error here. Let me quickly correct this. So the title here should be fruits. Run it again. Good. So we have the title, the labels for the Y and the X and the Y axis. Another thing I may want to do is to add a legend. So I can say here pyplot.legend. The legend is going to be an array. So for the first, let's say the first item, since you have only one category, you can say just put one label, fruits. Later on, if we have another category, we can add another label. So run it again. Good. So here we have our legend. So the legend is showing here fruits. What if you want to have a multiple bar chart? Let's say in addition to fruits, you can have something like vegetables. So let's create another data frame for vegetables. Sales2 equal to pd.dataframe. So vegetables. Let's say the vegetables that we have here is, so we have carrots, beets, root, cabbage, and then lastly, let's say cucumber. Then the quantity sold, After creating the bar chart, we want to save it. So let's say plt.savefig, then let's call it bar chart.jpg. Run this. Run it. You can see that our bar chart has been generated for us. Let me close this and run it. So the bar chart is created but with an empty array. Why is that so? Okay, that's because we should have said pyplot.bar, then pass in the first item in the array should be sales 1, and then let's say fruits, and then the second item in the array will be the y-axis, so we'll say sales 1, quantity sold. So let's print this and see. Good. So we have our bar chart. So this is the much we can take. If you like this video, please share it and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you.